had pigs that pushed through fence and just ruined a whole year's worth of vegetables because you guys had.
I think it's time to build something. So here's what we're going to need to build this style flood and drain system. It's not going to use medium in the grow bed. We're going to try to do it without that. There's plenty of other systems that do it without that. So why do we need it? Need a piece of 2-inch PVC pipe, roughly 2 feet long. Couple of pieces of 1/2 inch, about 18 inches long. Couple of couplers, some shorter pieces of 1/2 inch. They're about 1 foot long. We're going to trim them off. Some 90s, a couple of valves to control water flow, nutrient flow. Some caps for the end of the bell siphon, a water pump, and some other various plumbing fittings. We'll touch on those later. The first thing we're going to do is take one of the 18-inch pieces. We're going to thread a T on it. After we put the T on the end of it, we're going to put a 1/2 inch close nipple in the end of the T on each side. Use a pair of channel locks, snug those down a little bit. Then we're going to place PVC threaded ball valve. Want the handle looking up. Another PVC threaded ball valve. Sorry about the dog in the background. Handle looking the same way. Threaded 90. Another threaded 90. Can hold the valve and snug the 90s down. We want them to look off kind of at an angle. All these parts I bought at the local hardware store. I believe the 90s and the short close nipples were less than $1 a piece. The valves were a few dollars. 18-inch runs. We're about $1.50. All in all, we're building this for less than about $30 minus the pump. The tub was $10. Without the pump, if you've got one sitting on hand, you can build this whole thing for 25 bucks. Next, we're going to take a 6-inch nipple, thread it into each of the 90s. Going to put a coupler on the end of it. We'll set that aside. We have to retrieve our containers that we're going to attach to, so we need to relocate our tomato plants. So let's get these guys. Come on there, fellas. And let's see if we have another bucket we can put them in temporarily. Makeshift dog gate. Gotta make sure the dog doesn't escape. He looks lonely. We'll put him in there. Now that they have a new temporary home, let's go get their buckets. And it's gonna take these bulkhead fittings. Let's see if we can make it work. Drill's not long enough. Looks like we're gonna have to guess. Or we can do it this way. Holes are on the outside. Since we had to get into this rib right here, we're going to throw a little bit of sealant in there first. I'll be right back. Okay, so I found some sealant. Use this outdoor silicone sealant on it. Already cleaned up the bottom of the surfaces right here and in there, both containers. But before I can put those in, I've got to drill some holes in here that have to line up with those. So I'm going to use these as a template. That's what our cupboard looks like now. Pump hole, drain hole. We're going to set that aside. Let's install our drains. Alright, so I realized I lost some footage. I'll tell you what happened. The last thing you saw, my tube of caulking wasn't any good. I found another tube. I sealed up the ledges around the bulkhead fittings. Typically you wouldn't have to do this if you're working with a flat surface. But since this surface has those little ribs right there, I've got to caulk along the edges. I went all the way around just to be safe. Now we're going to start on the belt siphons. To do that, I'm going to start by drilling a series of holes in the base of them. I want to make sure that the holes are far enough up from the base that when I put them into the standpipe, they miss the flange on the bottom of the bulkhead. For me, that's going to be roughly a 1/2 inch up. Let's make some holes. Alright, got the holes drilled, just cleaning them up. Let's put our caps on. Now, put the caps on. What you do, set them down, soft blow mallet, knock them down. That way, if we ever need to repurpose these items, we can do so without breaking them. Set those aside. And let's install some drain tubes in the bottom of our tanks. Good morning. As you might have guessed, I lost some more video last night. Apparently I ran out of storage on my camera, didn't realize it, so it's gone. I'll catch you up on what I did. Installed the bottom side of the drain tubes. Put 90s on here to try to slow down the water coming through the bell siphon, hopefully so that it'll pick up a siphon faster and I won't have as much dead time while it's trying to do that. Also, I'm hoping that having the angles pointed this direction and back that direction, it'll introduce a little bit of swirling in here. That's going to be important for our next test after this. We've got something that we're going to try to use for nutrient in solution that's not really normal for this kind of application. There'll be more on that in another video. At this point, also, because my bell siphons sit so far down in, I ran a little screw into the top of the cap and sealed it up so I can take them in and out without having to remove the lid in case I need to work on them for any reason. With that, I think we're ready to put some water in the system and test it out, see how it works. I'm going to get everything moved outside of the backyard and we'll fill it up and check it. So we've got the system moved back here and set up. Taking the lids off the top so it's easier to see in. I've got this one opened up a little bit so I can get in to adjust the pump speed. Let's plug it in and see what she does. Siphon should be about to initiate. Sounds like this one has started. See if this one, I can't see it on the camera, but I can see right through there that this one has started also. Cut my flow back. My pump is outrunning my siphons. I can't do this with the camera in my hand, so I'm going to set it down and adjust the pump speed real quick. Alright, so I got the pump speed adjusted. They're filling at about the same rates. They should be about ready to go into a siphon cycle again. This bucket's running a little faster than this one. I'm going to adjust that with the water speed right here, which I just did. Now it's started. So I've got the system set back up and had to make a couple adjustments to it because it wasn't siphoning properly and I couldn't get the tanks to run at the same speed. So I'll walk you through what I did there real quick. On the siphons, I don't know if you can see, right down here, a little snorkel tube. It will actually break the surface of the water faster than the bottom of the siphon will. And so far, it's been running for about 30 minutes. It seems to be working. What it does is it allows it to suck air a little bit easier because the meniscus of the water was pulling up the side of the siphon and blocking the holes, causing continuous flow even though the water level was down below. Seems to be working so far. We'll see if it continues to work. Also, I couldn't get my fill rate low enough with the pump that I'm using. So inside, let's see if I can raise this up. I'll let them cycle. They're about to siphon, and then I'll raise it up. While we're waiting, you'll notice right here there's a new piece of pipe that wasn't there a minute ago. That's part of what I've added. There's a venturi in there now to aerate the water in the sump down below. Additionally, there's a takeoff line to bleed some of the pressure out of here so I can get a lower flow rate here. This tank is draining now. Let's see if it breaks its siphon like it's supposed to. This tank is also about to break. Burnt, so it's done. It's going to start refilling. This one runs a little bit slower than that one does. I'm not sure why they're set up identically to each other. Let's go ahead and look in here. You can see there is the takeoff valve and the venturi that I added. Also, I extended those 90s a little bit to get a little bit better suction for the siphon. That's it for now. I'm going to let this run for a little bit and bubble some of the chlorine out of the water. I've got my nutrients I'm getting ready. I'll show you another video here shortly. Adding the nutrients, we'll get the plants back in here and get it set up and ready to start growing. Have a good one.